Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
Accusations that go against everything a church stands for. A ministry accused of extorting the homeless. Federal investigators say that victims were forced into panhandling and housed in facilities that resembled prisons.
10 News reporter Anthony Pura is live in Chula Vista, where the church allegedly recruited its victims. Anthony.
And one of those group homes was here in Chula Vista, and neighbors tell us that there were a lot of people packed into that so-called group home. In fact, even after it shut down, they would see many homeless people coming by asking about it. Imperial Valley Ministries promises day and night intercession for revival on its website amid a backdrop of glistening water. But U.S. attorneys say it was all a facade. In reality, they say the El Centro-based ministry was exploiting homeless people, luring them in with a promise of a warm bed and a hot meal, and then forcing them to panhandle 54 hours a week for them, or else they wouldn't be fed. They say sometimes the church threatened to separate kids from their parents, and that they also forced them to give up all their welfare benefits.
Many victims live in fear.
12 of the church leaders now facing a handful of federal charges, including conspiracy and forced labor. Officials say they kept their victims in group homes. This one in El Centro had windows bolted. Federal officials say a 17-year-old broke a window to escape and called police. This Chula Vista house was also listed as a group home. The woman now living here says several windows had to be redone when she moved in April.
You could tell people were living in the garage, and the neighbors said that there was always homeless people coming, always.
In May 2018, FBI agents raided the ministry, confiscating money, computers, and records. At the time, the lead pastor said it was because of a client's disgruntled family member.
This lady, she wasn't happy because her daughter was in the women's home. She ended up leaving, and when she got home, all these accusations, start popping up.
We want to show you a copy of the rules at the ministry. There were more than 20 listed, including having to turn over IDs, money, and other personal items. A longtime church member told 10 News everyone agrees to those rules before they come. He said no one was forced to panhandle. He called it fundraising, and he said those accusations were simply false. We're reporting live in Chula Vista. Anthony Pura, 10 News.
Anthony, thank you. And as news develops with this story, you can count on 10 News to share that information through the 10 News mobile app. A free version is available in the App Store.
Hundreds of people at the Chula Vista Library today for Drag Queen Story Time. Supporters clashed with protesters who had been trying for weeks to get it canceled. 10 News reporter Matt Boone has a look inside the event that caused such division.
Well, it was definitely a tense afternoon. Protesters on both sides separated by these barriers put up by police, making sure that there was no violence, and they did a pretty good job making sure that didn't happen. As for the kids, though, they still had to kind of get through the gauntlet here before they could even get inside the library.
Everyone is welcome here.
Supporters of the drag queens marched to the front of the library. While the protest was peaceful,
Love the gays, not their way. You are God haters.
The rhetoric was inflammatory.
Charity is man's love for God. It's not loving homos or loving perverts.
Supporters confused by the anti-LGBT language.
These people protesting, you would think you were in a foreign nation.
Despite the protests, the event went on as planned. Though with so many kids and parents showing up, they had to do 2 different readings.
I believe in modeling good behavior, and that modeling includes celebrating differences.
Kate Bishop brought her 2 kids, Dee Dee and Baz, saying they had a conversation about drag queens before they came.
It was like boys who dress up like girls, and it's all right.
The story that we'll be reading today is going to be called Julian is a Mermaid.
With the turmoil outside, the performances went smoothly inside the auditorium. The drag queens Raquelita and Barbie Q reading, dancing, and singing with the crowd. 4th grader Stella Lean said she enjoyed the show.
I thought it was a good opportunity to really learn about different people.
Her mom, Mandy, thought the whole thing was blown out of proportion.
There's no reason for people to be protesting. If they don't like it or they don't want to bring their children, they just should not attend.
The drag queens say they have been approached by a few other places, so future readings could be possible. In Chula Vista, Matt Boone, 10 News.
And a group that opposes Drag Queen Storytime prayed outside Chula Vista City Hall this afternoon.
To declare peace and to declare your glory in the city of Chula Vista.
Those protesters are mainly members of a church that was vandalized over the weekend, but so far there's no evidence the crime was linked to their opposition to today's event. Dozens of people came to pray for peace and the leadership of the Chula Vista City Council.
And it was so peaceful. There was no protests, there were no signs. It was just prayer and it was peace for our city.
Well, the group says it plans to be back to pray outside every city council meeting. They've coined their action, Step Up to Pray.
Parents in Oceanside say their children's safety is being put at risk. They're demanding the school district continue providing bus transportation for students. 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo reveals the show of support that they're receiving from the South Bay.
Holding poster boards that read "Shame on you," parents from Oceanside Union School District demanded their children get their bus routes back.
These kids deserve better.
But this time they weren't alone. Moms from the Sweetwater Union High School District in the South Bay joined them. Sweetwater cut over 20 bus routes earlier this year.
Eso los hace más fuerte.
The moms say they made the drive to North County to make Oceanside parents feel empowered, to encourage them to keep fighting.
They're supposed to be there to fight for our education, and they're there to help us out, especially for our kids.
The district told Oceanside parents about the cuts last month. They worry about the dangers their kids can face while walking roughly 5 miles round trip. In 2015, a 12-year-old boy was killed as he rode his bike to school near Oceanside Boulevard and South Coast Highway. Parents say one child hurt is too many.
Drivers just don't pay attention sometimes. They have to go down underneath the Freeway 5, which is a bridge where sometimes homeless or drug addicts sleep.
The bus item wasn't on the agenda, so the board took no action. In an email to 10 News, a spokesperson for the district says the district cut transportation in 2010 and that buses are being provided free of cost this year. Also adding that families impacted will have the chance to choose what school their child attends next year, a solution parents say isn't good enough.
They can give themselves raises and make, as directors, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. We believe they can afford to keep the buses.
The routes stop at the end of this school year. In Oceanside, Laura Acevedo, 10 News.
Now to a developing story. U.S. warplanes dropped more than 40 tons of bombs on what's described as an ISIS-infested area in Iraq. The operation was carried out by the U.S. and a coalition of other countries fighting to erase ISIS strongholds. The terrorist group was defeated back in 2017 in northern Iraq, but has since resurfaced in that region.
Tomorrow marks 18 years since the terror attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, which killed thousands of people. There will be memorials and moments of silence across the country. Here in San Diego, CBP will commemorate 9/11 at 5:46 a.m. At that time, all northbound traffic will pause for 3 to 6 minutes while agents mark the moment. There are a number of memorials around the county tomorrow, and you can find more information on all of the events on our website, 10news.com. You'll find a link on the homepage. New tonight, a professor at the University of San Diego has been suspended, accused of threatening other professors at the school. The professor in question reportedly put threatening flyers around campus with pictures of several faculty members. In a statement, the USD area said, in part, quote, "We are in the process of investigating the complaint. Our commitment to protecting employee privacy restricts our ability to share names or details of the incident."
A big development tonight in the story that Team 10 broke last year of inappropriate relationships between employees and students at the prestigious Bishop School in La Jolla. A former student is now suing, claiming that he was molested and harassed by a female computer science teacher. The alleged abuse started around 1994 when John Doe was 16. The lawsuit says what started as hand-holding and flirting evolved into sexual acts both on and off campus. The suit claims other staff knew about the abuse. The student involved released a statement that said, in part, "My message to other victims